Megan Jansen here with Employee Wellness Solutions Network. I'm still on a year-long mission to speak with as many influential people as I possibly can in the space of health and wellness and turning it to the workplace, certainly. Today is no exception. I have tracked down an amazingly busy person, Jennifer Oliver. Jen, you're the owner of Fit Mama Global. You've been very, very, very busy with your Fit Mama podcast. You're an author of The Love Fit Mama Way. And we're just going to get right into this and talk, I think, more specifically around the emotional side of feeling good and making some of those healthy changes along the way. So let's start with that. What does emotional fitness really mean?
You know, what it really means is it's about managing. And I mean, at the end of the day, we know as employees and we know as humans going out into the world that if we give in to every craving, if we go on every whim we have and every emotional thing turns into an outburst, you know, we're not really possibly being successful in our workplace, family life, relationships, etc. So what I teach at Fit Mama is really about this idea of emotional fitness. And so much about being fit is our conversation that we're having with ourselves, which starts with, I need to do this, or I have to get better at this. I have to go on a diet. I need to stop drinking. I got to say no to the fried foods, or I got to join that class. And it's all very sort of pushy, if you really think about it that way. And what happens is, and I've studied psychology and the psychology of health and exercise for the better part of 12 years now, and we as adults don't like to be bullied or pushed around as to what we need to do, even if it's by ourselves, right? I mean, we have bosses for that at work. We have, our spouses sometimes for that at home. But we don't want to be bullied around by ourselves. So every time we say, I need to start going back to the gym, or I have to do that diet, we really try and avoid it, and it becomes something that we don't do. So what I talk about with emotional fitness is really about starting to connect with why you're really wanting to make changes. Why are you telling yourself you need to or you have to? Well, maybe it's because you actually feel crappy, right? You don't want to get up any morning, your alarm goes off and you're going like, no, and snooze, and you don't want to go to sleep at night because you're like, oh, I don't want to get up again, and I have all these things. And so really it's about stress management, which you know a lot about. And when I even went back in the days when I was coaching clients at the actual businesses, I found that was the biggest thing. It was really about managing our stress, managing our emotions, and managing our energy. And those things are SEE, stress, emotions, and energy. And when we can see SEE, if we're managing our stress, or if we're jumping on every emotion, and if our energy is depleted all the time, then there are other breakdowns. So it's about getting back to those basics. Yeah.
We do. It's funny you mentioned, we do go back a while, and you were one of our amazing health coaches with some of our organizations, and you spoke to that recognition that stress is everywhere. And sometimes when we start to have it affect us, negative thought patterns can start. Those psychological traps get us sort of stuck. What are your thoughts about what can someone do to get unstuck? I know it's a loaded question because there's probably 101 things one can do, but keeping it simple, what could someone do to turn that switch, even to move that dial a little bit?
Well, first thing is the awareness around your physical body. So we talk about emotions and emotional fitness. It's like, oh, are we having an outburst? Are we freaking out? Are we just depressed or disappointed or frustrated? That's one thing. But we have chemical reactions happening in our body when we feel an extreme amount of stress. That fight or flight cascade of our sympathetic nervous system kicks in. And all of a sudden, we are having these chemical reactions. We can't stop those, right? Our heart starts beating, our blood pressure goes up, our breathing changes. Those are clues that we can actually miss if we're all in our head, so consumed with the work we have to do or our drama stories about things that are happening in our lives. And when we can become aware, that's awareness around what is our body saying in this minute, because we're actually victims often of what our body is saying, but we don't realize it's just a stress response. And then we attribute all these stories to it. We have all this other personal drama. And really, it's just awareness around, okay, I'm really tired. That's why I'm craving, that extra coffee or sugar at 4 p.m. I had that fight with my spouse last night. That's why I'm like on edge today. And we don't need to go into drama. We just need to attribute these things and get that awareness that that's why I have that pit in my stomach. That's why I have that, nagging headache or whatever it is. So just listening to our bodies and becoming aware is really the first step. Because when we just go through the motions, we just are swept up and we think, why is this always happening to me? And we put on these blanket statements, I always get sick. This always happens. And we get so bogged down by it. So the awareness is the first thing. Number 2, that was A, awareness. The B is breathing. And it almost sounds too simple that we just go, oh, that's just irritating. Like, this is another lady telling me I have to breathe, right? I'm over her. Like, I get it. I hear what you're saying, but the research is out. Like, it's clear. Your breathing is directly connected to your nervous system, which we do have control over, right? There's the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, which balances out the sympathetic, which is that fight or flight. And we have control. We let ourselves be victims and think we don't have control, but we do. And it's called take some deep breaths. Knowing that there's only some things we can control, which takes us to the C. So A is awareness. This is the ABCs that I always recommend. A is awareness of your physical body. B is breathing to calm your nervous system. And C is control the controllables. Because we like to think, oh, this is so annoying. That's this is this. But we don't have any control over those things. And yet they eat at us, right? And we miss all the things in our actual field of view that we could be enjoying. So getting really clear on that helps.
I love that. And that's a really easy thing to remember. ABC. Yeah. I love that. Resiliency, people who are, do fall into that negative headspace where they're just, there's lots going on. They may be able to control some, not others. They really focus their worry and anxiety and thoughts around things that are bothering them. There is research out there indicating that there is, behind the power of positive thinking is also a big thing. Share maybe some ideas on that. They talk about gratitude being important and all sorts of things that, as again, sometimes people will be like, come on, but it's out there. Positive thinking, the power of positive thinking can be helpful.
Yes, definitely the studies are out there. And I talk about this in my TEDx talk, which is how to love yourself to the core. And specifically, I talk about gratitude, which is a G. So again, I always like to give people ways they can remember things. So gratitude's a G. That gets you instantly out of negative thinking. If you can be grateful, the fact that, anything about your day, your life, the sun is shining, you have a home, you have a cat, whatever it is, you can find gratitude in your day. That is an instant out of negativity. And that's a G. The second G, and I actually shared this on the Fit Mama podcast this week, was the second G, and this I call the G spot, these two Gs. One is gratitude, and to get to the full G spot, it is also giving. Giving back, giving compliments. giving your time and your energy, because we spend so much time in our own heads. We worry about, what are people thinking about my hair? What if, oh, is he mad at me about this thing I said last week? Oh, I should do this. Oh, she's going to like me more if I do this. We spend so much time on that. But when we just give with no expectations, we give compliments to the lady at the store who has a beautiful dress on. We give compliments to the mom who's doing her best at the park with her kids. We give our boss a thank you for something that they did for us. We give back to anyone, anywhere. We donate old items we just have no use for anymore. That giving is literally a magic pill to uplift your emotions. And when it comes to resilience, as you mentioned, and I study self-regulation, which is really about willpower and self-control and making decisions that really support you now and in the future. And positivity and positive emotions are the number one determinant of how much energy, willpower, and self-regulation we have at the end of the day. And we're depleted because of all the things that happen. We got to take care of everyone. Emotionally, we're exhausted, we're drained. So-and-so yelled at us, nobody thanked us, we're frustrated, we have bills to pay, we've worked all day, we're exhausted, physically, emotionally, mentally, all depleted. And the number one thing to boost our willpower, our resiliency, our self-regulation at the end of all that is positive emotion. And you can get there quickly through the G-spot, which is giving and gratitude every time.
Awesome. You're wise. I love that. Jen, I could talk to you all day. You've got so many wonderful thoughts and insights around this, such an important topic. We're both in the business for helping people.
Oh,
we're passionate about helping people. So if any of the viewers, listeners can just gather one nugget, and you're speaking just in mind, you say one nugget you can take away from anything you attend, listen to, start doing it right away. So I love that. We have to tie up, but do you have any final thoughts? I'll leave the floor for you.
As a final thought, I would say the best thing you can do for yourself is actually quiet down and listen to what your body is telling you, because the body is the physical manifestation of the subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind is about 80% of the actions we take in a day. And 80% of that is based on how our body feels at any given moment. We go, oh, I have to eat. Oh, I have to drink. Oh, I'm hot. I'm cold. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm stressed. But when we can start to listen and calm down and not just go into drama mode, we really can take action or just start to heed the needs of our body instead of just doing things reactively all the time. We get to be a bit more proactive in our lives, and our body is the wisdom. We always think our minds kind of direct everything, but our bodies are the wiser ones. And that's what I've really discovered through my work, is that when we can trust our bodies, they have all the answers. Sometimes our minds kind of F us up because we go, should I, shouldn't I have to? But our bodies know. They're telling us. And, specifically if you've been through an injury, an illness, any kind of issues, you start to trust your body more because you go, okay, this thing is fragile and it's also wise, right?
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, Jen. I hope to catch up with you at some point soon.
Likewise. Thank you.
And your new adventures, and we'll definitely stay in touch. Thanks, Jen.
Definitely. Thanks for all you do. Thank you.